Hey everyone, this is Erica Sabo. Welcome to another episode of My Bit. Hey everybody, I hope you are well. I hope you've been having a good week so far. So today I'm going to be doing a video on something I should have done a long time ago, and that is my top 10 JRPGs on the PlayStation 2. Yes, it's finally happening. I know you guys have been asking for it, and I have delivered. It's about time, considering PlayStation 2 had a lot of really good JRPGs, and this was a really challenging list for me to come up with, just as challenging as it was for the Super Nintendo or for the PlayStation 1. Now, of course, I had to do a top 10 because there's a lot of them. Just like with the PlayStation 1, there's a lot of them. And because of that, it will be a two-parter. So if you don't mind, the anticipation and the wait, I'm going to be doing part 1, and then part 2 is going to be happening next week. That will be the finale, the amazing end to a bunch of amazing games. So I'm also going to be changing things up in terms of my top list. I want to I don't know. I want to make it even more professional than it is now, because all you ever saw was like a game and then me, and then I just talk about the game and everything was left to your imagination. But I've decided that I'm going to be including a bunch of like just videos for these games so you can better imagine them. If you're not familiar with the game, you don't just have to imagine it. It doesn't always have to just be about nostalgia and having all these memories. Like, you'll actually have something right there in front of you so you can see the game for yourself while I'm talking about it. Because I know it's probably really boring just like watching me blab about all this stuff. So I'm going to change that up, and hopefully if that works out great, then I'll do it in all my future top lists as well. So number 10 in my top 10 JRPGs on the PlayStation 2 goes out to a little game called Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I know some of you might be like, what is it doing in number 10? It should be way higher than that. And you know, I totally understand. I understand in terms of the magic that this game offered and the way that it mashed up Squaresoft and Disney. It did it in such a genuine, authentic way that you really could feel the love. You really could. And I spent a lot of hours, hundreds of hours on this game, and loving every single minute of it. Just loving every single minute of it. But it's also one of those games that I don't feel has aged as well as I would have liked. Of course, we do have the remix editions now, so you can enjoy it to its fullest with revamped graphics and everything and all that, you know, fun stuff. But at the same time, I still do have my gripes, especially in terms of the gameplay. While I love the even if sometimes convoluted story, I couldn't get as much into the gameplay itself, and I found the action RPG gameplay to be almost maddening, depending on the fights. Sometimes it was more tolerable, and sometimes it was not. But in many cases, it was pretty maddening, and it was very frustrating, and it can be quite mindless, the way that you end up just button mashing when you're trying to defeat your foes and bosses and all these things, right? So there was plenty of challenge in the game, and I enjoyed that, but it wasn't challenge in the way that I was hoping. It was more challenging in the fact that it was a little off-center in terms of gameplay, and not something that I necessarily enjoyed all the time. However, what kept me going was the music, was the world itself, the characters. I mean, honestly, like, Simple and Clean is still one of my favorite songs ever, and I loved Passion in Kingdom Hearts 2. I love that song to death, but there's something about Simple and Clean that truly got to me, and I'm happy that the song has been used and used and used in future Kingdom Hearts games. But I have a lot to say about the Kingdom Hearts series in general, and I'm a bit on the disappointed side in terms of it. However, I think that Kingdom Hearts was just, it was an amazing start to something so fresh and so magical and so unlike anything else we had seen before. I hold this game to very high regard, and the fact that it's on my top 10 list compared to all these like hundreds of games that are out there that, you know, stood out to so many people, like, it deserves to be on this list, even if it is number 10. Number 9 in my top 10 JRPGs on the PlayStation 2 goes out to Dragon Quest VIII: Journey of the Cursed King. Now, unfortunately, I do not own this game. I played it a bunch at Play and Trade Video Games when I worked there, and I borrowed it from a friend, and I loved the experience. I'm a big fan of Level 5, and I'm a big fan of Square Enix, and I'm a big fan of Dragon Quest. And it is probably one of the best games in the Dragon Quest series. Of course, that goes out to Dragon Quest V, in my opinion. However, Dragon Quest VIII did some impeccable things, and it kept the challenge up, and the story was remarkable. It wasn't pulling any punches, like it was basically Dragon Quest through and through, but still such an amazing traditional JRPG in the series. It's honestly, it's one of my favorites, and if you are looking for a challenge, which it's not often that you get that much of a challenge in JRPGs anymore, then you're definitely going to get it with this one, and that's thanks to Level 5. I like how they do that. I like how they're willing to ramp things up when it needs to be. Aside from that, we have a colorful world that you will totally be familiar with if you are familiar with the Dragon Quest universe, and it's just as beautiful as ever. Honestly, like I can't even express to you how amazing it is to be able to see everything come to life the way it does in this game. It's something else entirely, and something you definitely need to try out if you are a fan of turn-based JRPGs. I love it very much, and I think you will too. Number 8 in my top 10 JRPGs on the PlayStation 2 goes out to Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga. Now, this game is not for the faint of heart, not at all. So if you are not looking for a JRPG with mature themes, if you're not looking for something too terribly challenging, this game might not be for you. But if you are looking for that challenge, if you are looking for a game that's geared towards adults, then this is gonna be it. This is gonna be it, and this is an amazing series in the Shin Megami Tensei universe. It doesn't stand up as high as games like Nocturne did, however, or Persona series, which is quite different still. It's still one of those games that I hold very, very, very highly in this library, and this is a big library of games. This game had its good and its bad points, and that's part of why it is where it is on this list. Had a really cool, compelling, cel-shaded look to it. I loved the art style. I loved the characters. I loved how eccentric the game was. So unlike anything that you see come out in North America for the most part. You know, everything's pretty generic fantasy in terms of JRPGs, but it's amazing to see games like this. So, like, something else entirely. I can't even say what it is. It's not really sci-fi, it's not really fantasy. It's supernatural, definitely, but it's something different. It's something different. And it's cyberpunk. It could be considered cyberpunk. I think you could do that. I think you could say that. And I love cyberpunk things, so that just works really well together, actually. Of course, it had its issues too, despite the cool premise and the cool visuals. Its camera was pretty janky. It wasn't great, you know, but battles were hit or miss for me, but overall, I love the system, and I loved everything this game did, and I would love it if they revisited it. I mean, while I haven't played very much of Digital Devil Saga 2, I didn't hear it was very good in comparison, part of why I only have one, but, you know, it's a series that I would love to see, I would love to see return. I would love to see something new. Who knows? Who knows? Definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. Number 7 in my top 10 JRPGs on the PlayStation 2 goes out to Sakura Wars: So Long My Love. Yes, 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 yes. I'm so happy with this game. I love this game to pieces. This is a really great strategy RPG date simulator. It's a shame we didn't get more of the Sakura Wars games here in North America, because I hear they are amazing, and this one is is an amazing example of just that. If you are into strategy RPGs, I highly recommend you check out this game. Even if you aren't and you're not really sure if you're gonna like it or not, check it out anyways. I know that there was a Wii port of the game too, which might be easier to find than this PlayStation 2 version, but it's just a really lovely game, and I'm really happy I picked it up at launch because it was something that I really needed in my life, and I really needed a game that could implement a dating simulator in there as well. I like dating simulators a lot, and this game leaves you with a lot of options. It's one of those games you're gonna want to play over again because there are several things that you're not gonna get. I mean, if you are very OCD about, you know, getting the girl and getting everything you can in the game, then sure, you can look all that stuff up if you want, but it's almost better if during your first run you just go for it and you just see what works and what doesn't, and then do some problem solving and figure out what worked conversation-wise and what didn't. In terms of the battle system, it was not my favorite. It was a little bit bland, in my opinion. However, the way that the dating simulator aspect of it was infused into it is really great. And to be honest, like, battles aren't nearly as prevalent as the actual dating simulator aspects of this game. So yeah, this is a very, very important game, important series that you definitely need to check out. It's no wonder a port came out. It was very popular and it deserved it. You know, I mean, very niche, so it was kind of more of a cult following than anything else, but it definitely deserves all the love it gets, and it still does. It's one of those games that I wish we could see more of. I honestly do, and I'm very happy to have it on my list. If you're looking for a really, really unique tactical RPG dating sim, then this is it. And number 6 of my top 10 JRPGs on the PlayStation 2 goes out to Shin Megami Tensei Persona 3. This game changed the way we thought of the Persona series. Persona 2 was a really awesome game. It's one of my favorites. If you watch my top, PlayStation 1 JRPGs, you'll see how much I care about that game. However, what I really like about P3 is what a game changer it was, and how it really, really started to infuse the dating simulator aspect of this turn-based series. I love the turn-based combat, and I've always loved it in the Shin Megami Tensei universe. I love how you make pacts. I think it's very unique. I think it's very dark. I think it's very supernatural, and it's very trendy and cool. However, this game in the series made it that much trendier. This game in the series is what made it mainstream in a way. It's still niche, but it ramped it up like way higher, and that could be because of the beautiful visuals, that could be just because it tried to modernize the system altogether, and it did such a great job of it. I definitely have my problems with this game, hence why it is where it is on the list. But I think that there's another special game that I'll maybe or maybe not talk about that definitely worked on some of those issues. They're both very different games, so you can't really compare the two in terms of the overall systems that they integrated. However, I really like that game a lot, but I really like this game a lot too, so no more spoilers. But yeah, no, Persona 3 is one of those games that I am so happy I picked up on launch, and I'm so happy that I made that jump. I was so worried because I really needed something different in my JRPGs. I needed something dark. I needed something mature, I needed something that I could grow with, something that didn't feel too childish, and I think that P3 does just that. It's no wonder there's a portable version of this game. There's no question about it. Like, it's a very, very popular series, and this is probably one of the most impressive games in the series to date. So if you haven't played any of the Shin Megami Tensei games, this is a really great gateway. This is an amazing gateway for it. If you are familiar with the Shin Megami Tensei universe, but you haven't played any of the Persona games, personally, I would say try Persona 2 first. However, I can understand why some people might tell you try P3 or P4 instead. The thing is it's a little bit hard to go back when you experience something like P4. So, P3 though was an amazing game and something that I hold to a very high regard and something I definitely recommend checking out no matter what kind of a gamer you are. So I hope you enjoyed. I really hope you enjoyed my my top 10, well, part 1 of my top 10 JRPGs on the PlayStation 2. I'm really curious to know what your first 5 games are, and I really hope that I can help pump you up for my last 5. That's going to be coming up next week. That's probably going to be happening on Wednesday, I'd say. I think I can have it together by then. So yeah, please let me know what you think. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Okay,